Hello everyone, back tuning into the 19th Christmas update. So since the 1st of November on regularly every other night, something like that basis, we have been doing Christmas updates, and we've arrived at the 19th update. And we're moving on to the GFS now. So we're going to have one more update, this one with the CFS V2, and then I'll move you on to the GFS, and then from there we will use the GFS to actually pin down the weather for Christmas, and eventually we'll be able to get some detail on that in around a week's time. We should be able to try and get some detail for the important Christmas period. Lots of people travelling around, of course, particularly the day or so before Christmas. So we will be discarding the CFS after this update. So I'll get on with that in a second. Before I get on with that, just say about the ads. This week's articles on the page. You have a browse, read and click through the links. You'll be able to pay for our website. Thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads, post pages. They don't know content. We watch them. They close back up again. Does help the paid website. And the Christmas shop is still open. So you've got any Christmas shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas. Just click the green button. It says Christmas shop. Takes you to our Christmas shop page, and then from there you go through the Amazon banners and do your Christmas shopping as normal. Because you've gone from Gazlovic to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you're buying. Big thank you to everybody for doing that. Been a big success again this year. You've still got time to get your Christmas presents out to you, but if you haven't done that yet, I would do it shortly because time is getting on, but there is still time to get those Christmas presents out to you from Amazon. Big thank you to everybody for doing that. So we're using for the final time the CFS 9 monthly forecast we have been doing throughout the previous 18 updates. So this generated midday. Yes, there always a 24-hour delay on these charts coming through. We always use midday run, try to use the same run all the time. We always use midday run for no particular reason other than that's one that I chose at random. It's no more reliable than any of the other three members. The CFS's run midnight, 6 o'clock in the morning, midday, and 6 in the evening. The midday run is no more reliable than any of the other runs, I don't think, but I just chose that one at random, and it is the one that we've been sticking with throughout these updates. So for the final time with CFS V2, let's have a look and see what it's showing. We're starting off on the 18th of December now. So we have high pressure across many parts of Europe with low pressure out in the Atlantic. This looks quite mild for Scotland and Northern Ireland, brings westerly, southwesterly winds up from the Atlantic there. For England and Wales, though, it is a bit colder. There's probably quite a deep cold pool across central parts of Europe, and we could be bringing some of that in to the southeast, so maybe frost and fog there for England and Wales potentially. We go through to the 19th of December and then on towards the 20th, and still the idea is that high pressure is in there across central parts of Europe. This is a vast area of high pressure stretching really from the Black Sea over towards the UK and France, so it's a big ridge of high pressure. And it's bringing a slack southerly southeasterly flow. That could be importing quite cold air in from central parts of Europe. You would have to see the exact parameters of what the low-level air is doing, say whether that would be importing cold frost fog. It's certainly not snowy, but it could be bringing in frost and fog, particularly for parts of England and Wales. And then we move through towards the 20th on to the 21st, running up towards Christmas. And the idea is that high pressure is still there to the east, with low pressure out in the Atlantic. It's a proper meteorological battle going on. It doesn't look terribly exciting, but the atmosphere is very much in a battle sort of setup. And if it was summer, it would be very hot, by the way, with those southerly winds coming up. Actually, that just looks very quiet conditions, probably some rain out across the west, elsewhere mostly dry, and again it would depend on the exact parameters of what's happening on the continent as whether this will be a cold sort of southerly flow. But I suspect actually now it's beginning to turn a little bit more towards the Atlantic and the Bay of Biscay, the air. So even if it was cold a couple of days before, probably relatively mild, but there could be a fair amount of fog, especially in the east, which would of course knock down the temperatures. We run up towards Christmas, so it takes us to the 23rd, and then we're moving towards the 24th, and the high pressure is still there. It's actually backing a little bit further westward, so it keeps England and Wales mostly dry. A little bit of rain perhaps to Scotland and Northern Ireland. Very, very quiet run this, with not much happening. The problem would, I think, be fog if this was going on as we're running up towards Christmas. Certainly not stormy, no rain to speak of, and no snow, but under all this high pressure, there could be fog becoming an increasing issue as we're moving towards Christmas Eve there. And then we get through into Christmas Eve, and then on towards Christmas Day, and high pressure just continues to sit there. So this is the chart for Christmas Day on this final 19th update with the CFS 9 monthly forecast, and it's showing high pressure dominating. This has been a theme throughout all of the updates that we've done, really. Very few of them, or most of the updates that we've done, very few have been Atlantic driven and stormy. They've always tended to have high pressure around, but they tend to be in colder positions than this. Have had a lot of cold updates with CFS 9 monthly forecast this year. This isn't especially cold. The high pressure is there over the country, so there could be frost and fog, certainly. And by day, temperature probably close to average, but just very quiet, very dry conditions there for Christmas Day. And then we go through to Boxing Day, and the high pressure is still with us as we're going into Boxing Day. There it is. Sitting just southwest, so maybe turning a bit milder around the top of the high pressure, especially for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Again, for England and Wales, it could be fog and frost and just very quiet conditions. Running up towards New Year, so this takes us to the 28th and then on to the 29th. That high pressure remains in situ around the country, so it continues to be very quiet. Again, probably night frost would be probable, maybe some fog patches as well. By day, temperatures close to average if you're in sunshine, but of course if you're under fog, then you would probably have to think about cold daytime temperatures. This is how New Year's Eve is looking into New Year's Day. This is midnight New Year's Day. High pressure is still there, dominating the weather. So from start to finish, it's high pressure all the way through the Christmas period. Again, could be frost and fog. Now, as we go through the first week of January, we lose that high pressure influence a little bit and start to bring the winds in off the Atlantic. So it probably does turn a little bit more and settle there through the first week of January, maybe with some rain in the northwest. For the south and east, would be mostly dry still, but it is in a milder, more Atlantic-driven air mass. So the final update with CFSB2 is certainly suggesting loads of high pressure, would be very dry period, in contrast to last year, of course, we have quite a lot of flooding over Christmas, would be a very dry Christmas, and it could be chilly at times, but it isn't, that high pressure isn't in a position to be producing northerly or easterly winds, and they're the winds that bring sort of bitter temperatures and snow. So it's high pressure dominated. That's been the theme throughout these updates of CFSV2, but not particularly cold. And I said that the Christmas period is coming within the time frame of the GFS model now. That's why we're going to be moving on from CFS after this update. So I'm just going to show you the very latest from the GFS running up to Boxing Day. And this is what it's showing. We're going to start off on the 20th of December, when we are very similar to the CFS at this point. Actually, we've got high pressure out to the east of the country, low pressure to the west, bringing in a slack flow across the country. Probably daytime temperatures are close to average, night times maybe on the chilly side. We go through to 21st and on to the 22nd of December, and the GFS wants to bring low pressure in off the Atlantic, so this brings cloud and rain across the country, quite heavy rain, and it's fairly mild as well. If you follow the ice bars back, the air is going down to the Azores, so we are bringing up very mild air there on the 22nd of December. That low pressure moves through the country on the 23rd, running up towards Christmas, taking probably quite a lot of rain and fairly strong winds as well. And then it gets out of the way on the 23rd of December, high pressure building in behind. That's with a cooler air mass. So you clear that rain away and lower the temperatures back down closer to average. This is how the GFS midday run is seeing Christmas Eve tonight, and it's showing high pressure through the country. A little weather system down in the southwest could bring a bit of rain there, but really high pressure is through the country, and it's quite chilly as well, so daytime temperatures will be somewhere around, say, 4 or 5 in the north, in the south probably 7, 8 or 9, and on Christmas Eve night it might turn frosty under that high pressure. This is how Christmas Day looks from the midday run of the GFS. High pressure is in control. It's starting to head up towards Scandinavia, so it's a very quiet Christmas Day. That's in agreement with the CFS, what we're just looking at. Probably quite chilly as well. There could be frost and fog night and morning, but there would be mostly dry conditions by day with fairly decent sunny spells and temperatures, again, probably not too far from the average. And then we finish up on Boxing Day, taking that high pressure further towards Scandinavia. Low pressure is out in the Atlantic, so this looks like we're setting up quite a battle here between high pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure in the Atlantic. We're bringing up a southerly wind in the west, so probably turning mild and wet for western parts of the country. Eastern areas, I would have thought, mostly dry and cold, and quite where that goes, after that, as far as we can go tonight with the GFS, quite where that will go, difficult to say, but that looks a very intense area of low pressure in the Atlantic, so may well be that it will just roll through and sort of swamp this area of high pressure over Scandinavia. Now, you remember, while we were doing the previous 18 updates, the CFS was very regularly trying to take high pressure towards Scandinavia over Christmas period, and was on a regular basis suggesting the chance of a cold Christmas. The GFS is playing with that tonight around Christmas and Boxing Day, playing with taking that high pressure to Scandinavia. So it could be that CFS isn't a million miles away with this in the end. There's no sign at the moment of anything significantly cold this side of Christmas, certainly no sign of snow. But whilst these models keep trying to get that high pressure to Scandinavia, we've got to watch out, really, because at any point something could lock in quite short notice and turn the winds into the east. So just wait and see where things go on the 20th update, and we'll be doing that one on Monday evening, I would think, unless anything interesting shows up tomorrow, then I might sneak one in tomorrow evening, but otherwise it'll be Monday. Right, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.